To stand, please stand for the reading of God's holy word. And it reads, he said, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou were cold or hot. We just want to speak a few minutes of subject. Do something for God's sake. Amen.
All right,
Amen. Do something for God's sake. Amen. Passage of scripture here is those of you who've been attending the Bible studies on Wednesday night at 6 on the conference call. You know we're studying the book of Revelation. And I think we've gone through 2 or 3 of the churches. And in the book of Revelations, the main theme of the book is that where Jesus had given the Apostle John a vision, and he gave him a vision to write down some things about 7 churches in Asia Minor. And the thinking is that in these 7 churches, he would tell them what they're doing good and what they're not doing so good, or what they're doing outright wrong. And the lesson is for not so much those 7 churches, but for Christians everywhere. The lesson is for us today. When he spoke of the church in Ephesus, the first church he spoke of, he said that they had lost their first love. Meaning that they are lost, you know, they were all excited when they heard the good news about Jesus, and they came to church and they worshiped and they praised the Lord and they obeyed the word of the Lord, but then they lost that because of the world got to them. And it's for us to pay attention to those very things today in our life. We have to be careful that we're not giving the things of the world more time than we giving things of God. And so then he go on down to, he speaks of all something good, bad, or all bad about all 7 of the churches. And this passage of scripture here, when you get down to the 3rd chapter, the 15th verse, he talks about church number 7. This is the last church that he mentioned. And this church is in a little place called, the name of it, the people's is Laodicea. It's a little town there in Asia Minor. It lies in between 2 other little towns, one named Apollonius, and another name is Colosh. We heard about the town Colosh, where the book of Colossians come from, and they lay in a region where they are the most important towns in this region, and now the 3 towns have some significant value in them. Now, Laodicea is the most wealthiest of all of the towns in Asia Minor. Now, the peoples there, they have resources, but they were lacking one thing. They didn't have their own water supply. They were short on water. They have to do aqueduct. They have to run pipes to other nearby towns to get their water. And the Bible tells us that in this little town called Hierapolis, it was about 11 miles to the west of Laodicea, that it had good hot spring water. And then the other one, Colosh, it was about 6 miles to the south, if I don't have them pushed around one or the other. But it was about 6 miles away. It had good, cold drinking water. And here at Laodicea, it didn't have a good water supply. So by the time they run the pipes 11 miles away and and Hierapolis send the good hot water to them. By the time it got to Laodicea, the water had gotten warm. And the water had gotten lukewarm. And if you go to the 16th verse, where Jesus told John to tell the people in Laodicea, is that, they are lukewarm. I just rather for them to either be hot or cold. I don't like nothing that's lukewarm, because you're not fit for anything. If you're just lukewarm, you're like a hypocrite. If you're just lukewarm, you're not good for drinking. You don't taste good or nothing. If you're just lukewarm, I can't use you to heal my body, to heal my wound, as the hot spring water up in here on Naphtali, and I can't use you to cool my thirst as the cold water up in Colossus. But you're just lukewarm, so you are good for nothing. And so, and brothers and sisters, by the time the water got down to Laodicea, the water it was just no good. And so what Jesus is trying to tell these people, this is the way you all have gotten to be. Because God used examples. I mean, now I realize that a lot of people, they read these passages of scripture, they look at it like, oh, Jesus is telling them that he'd rather for you to be hot or cold. He don't want you to be lukewarm, because when you hot, you on fire for Jesus. When you are hot, you like the apostles. They do everything to follow Jesus the right way. And when you are cold, you like the Pharisees and the scribes. You always trying to prick Jesus. And then when you are lukewarm, when you're lukewarm, you like the Pharisees. You say you believe in God, but yet you don't. But when you are cold, you're like the publican in the harvest. But brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, is that I don't think Jesus is trying to equate this to believers and unbelievers. Well, I think what Jesus is saying here is that you is a church. You got everything that you need. You got wealth. You got everything. You got all of the buildings. You got all of the money. But yet you are not fit for nothing, because you pay no attention to the things of God. And brothers and sisters, that message could be coming to our church today. It's for us to pay attention to, how do God view our church today? God tells us in his word in Matthew the 6th chapter, he said, seek ye my kingdom and my righteousness first. If you seek me first, then I will give you everything else that you need. But how often do people come to church seeking for something of their own benefit? They come to church, they're looking for a way or avenue to get some information, or they're looking for a way to find a mate, or they're looking for an avenue. I gotta go to church. I might need something one day. God don't want us to come to church to look out for us. He wants us to always look, how can we do something to help somebody else? The church of Laodicea was a church that wasn't fit good to help nobody in nothing. If somebody needs some cool water to cool their weary soul, they could not help them. If somebody needs some hot water to mend or to heal their weary body, they could not help them, because their mind wasn't on things of God. Their minds were on things of selfishness. Selfishness for themselves. And brothers and sisters, God make it perfect clear in his word. Throughout scripture, he looked for people who are hot to do his work. He don't necessarily look for people who are holier than thou. He looked for people who are not slothfulness. He looked for people who to get up and do things. He looked for people that who press their way. Even if you press your way in doing something that's not so holy, God pay attention to those people. He can use those people more so than he can use people that who are lukewarm. Let's take Paul for example. Paul, before he was Paul, he was Saul. Paul was the greatest persecutor of the Jews, of the Christians that ever been. God took Paul because of Paul's progressiveness or aggressiveness. He took Paul and used Paul to do his ministry work. He used Paul to go and preach his word to the Gentile nation because Paul was somebody that he could depend upon. Paul was somebody, if the rain is coming down pouring, that Paul was going forward. If Paul had to go across the lake, he would swim across the lake. Paul would let nothing stop him for doing whatever his mission was to do. Brothers and sisters, God is looking for people today in his churches today. He's looking for people that who make a commitment to him. They will stand for that commitment regardless of what it would take, that they will put him first. We're going to continue to preach this word because it is the only word. It is the true word. This is what God wants from you. He's not looking for your excuses. He already know that you're sick.
All right.
He already know everything about you. He wants you to say, I'm going to put my sickness on hold. I'm going to do something for God's sake today. And once you make your mind up that you're going to do something for God's sake, he will help you do it. You can, he said he's faithful. That he would do everything that he promised you that he would do. When Joshua, when he was contemplating on going across the Jordan River over to Jericho, when he sent a couple of spies over to check the land out, there was a woman over there who was a harlot. She was a prostitute. She did everything the wrong way. But God knew that this woman would be faithful. That this woman will be trustworthy. He sent the spies to this woman's house. And this woman helped the nation of Israel. Helped God. This woman helped in the name of God. This woman did something for God's sake. All God wants you to do today. All he wants the church of Leodicea to do. Only thing he wants the temple of faith to do. The only thing he wants Pastor Giles to do. The only thing he wants each and every one of you to do is to do something for his sake. Put yourself on hold. I don't care how feeble or weak that you might consider yourself is. You only feeble and weak as you make it yourself. If you put God first, then you won't be operating on your strength. You will be operating on God's strength. He wants you to believe that. He wants you to trust in him on that. He wants you to have that kind of faith. Those of you who was in Sunday school this morning, you saw the man that we had counseling. The man was paralyzed. And the man knew that Jesus was coming, and he had four of his friends to pick him up, and they got to the house where Jesus was, and there were so many people pressing around, they couldn't get the man into the house. And the Bible said they took him up on the roof and cut a hole in the roof, and they got him down to Jesus. And because of their faith, because they had so much faith in God, that they believe if they can get the man to Jesus, that Jesus can heal him. And brothers and sisters, it's the same thing about us today. I don't care how weak we might be. to accomplish. We need that kind of faith. And we can do it. We can do it just a little bit harder. Temple faith. Look, just a little bit harder. Just practice it a little bit more. Give it a little bit more. A little bit more. And you're going to see the miracles that Jesus would do for you in your life. He will do the same thing for you in your life. That's what he did down at the Red Sea. The same thing in your life that he did at the Jordan River. The same thing when he knocked the walls down of Jericho. Those things is not hearsay. Those things are fact. And if you look back over your life, you can be reminded of some of the things that God had already done for you. Don't forget about the things that God has done for you. That's why God constantly reminds Israel, don't you remember how I led your foreparents out of Egypt? And if I did it for them, I would do it for you. So brothers and sisters, just be mindful. Don't be lukewarm when it comes to God. Don't be on fire with other things that you do. And then when the time it comes to go to church, is that you always got to brag. That you always, why can't you just be excited about coming to church? After all, what God has done for you. I put a challenge out this morning earlier that for this Easter season, we're asking you to read and meditate on 1 Peter 2:24. And when it talks about how Jesus hung on the tree for me and for you, for our sins. We want you to meditate on that. Let that go deep down in you. And I think that would be something that will help you to increase your faith in Jesus. Because, brothers and sisters, once we increase our faith in Jesus, we will see the miraculous things happen in our life. He's waiting to show you something, but he wants you to trust in him. Put your faith in him. Now, as I close now, I realize this is Black History Month. And I was thinking about Black history, and I was thinking about who is my favorite hero. And normally I would say Dr. Martin Luther King, and he is one of my great heroes. But then after I looked a little closer and I examined things, but then it became to be tough between Dr. King and Harriet Tubman. Then I sort of did a little studying about Harriet Tubman. Was a sister that was born as a slave. And then while she was a young woman, she was out on the farm one day, and some white man threw a piece of iron at someone, and the iron hit Harriet Tubman in her head. And Harriet Tubman lived the rest of her life with excruciating headaches. And Harriet Tubman said there's something about the hit that went down inside of her that made her want to do something for the Lord. And it said that because of that hit, it encouraged her to not only when she got free, but she wanted to go back and free other people. Brothers and sisters, I'm telling you that God has a way to get to you to do what he wants you to do. You don't have to wait until you get hit in the head by a piece of iron. You can move right now while you sit in your seat. If you just trust in the Lord and say you turn it over to the Lord. Then the story of Harriet Tubman, it said after in 1849, when she was set free, when when she got married, and then she went away, and when she came back, her husband had gotten with another woman, and she made her mind up that even though I'm free, I can live in comfort now, but I cannot leave my brothers and sisters behind. She went back over in the slave territory, and first she got her brothers and sisters and brought them to freedom. And then they said she made about 2 trips every year going back to the slave territory, bringing some more peoples to freedom. Brothers and sisters, I'm telling you today, once you free your mind and put your faith in Jesus, you will want to do the same thing. You don't want to just enjoy the freedom of Jesus yourself. You want to go out and bring somebody else to freedom. I dare you today. I dare you today to try. Harriet Tubman, she made several trips. She freed tens of thousands of people. One report says she's freed a minute 300 people. And I realized that some people don't want to be free. But Harriet Tubman had a rule. When you got on her train, they called the Underground Railroad. When you got on her train, you wasn't coming on. You was going to freedom. They say she have straightened numerous of them that who wanted to turn around and go back. And she put a gun on them. So you're not going back. Because when you go back, then you put all of us in danger. And brothers and sisters, I say that to you today. That once you touch the plow, once you gave your life to Christ, don't go back. Keep going forward. Press your way. Make it work out. You can do it. You just have to increase your faith a little bit more. Each and every one of us have the obligation to set somebody else free. It's not good enough for us to just enjoy God's grace and God's freedom. That's why in the story in the church of Laodicea, it couldn't have meant that those that who had faith in God was the hot ones, and those that who did not have faith in God was the cold ones, and the backsliders was the lukewarm ones. Because even if you're a backslider, if you have faith in God, if you've given your life to Christ, then salvation is yours. That cannot be taken away from you. That's why we know that wasn't what Jesus was talking about. Jesus wants you to do something for his sake. He wants you to be hot so that you can bring some healing to his people. Or he would rather for you to be cold so you can bring some refreshment to his people. He don't want you to be lukewarm. When you're lukewarm, you're good for nothing. He said when you're lukewarm, he spits you out of his mouth. And you don't want to be spit out of his mouth. Even though you got salvation, you want to be a service to Jesus. Amen.